He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime. There's basically just, someone who brought a civil case.
But not long after this conviction, Diddy's lawyer pulled the stunt of the century. As he bowed out of the case, rumor has it that when he heard his client's victim leak evidence from the prosecution, he couldn't sacrifice his career, leading him to walk out. And no, it wasn't just the damning files or tapes presented, but the grim descriptions spilled by Diddy's lover of 10 years. Let's take a dive in. Diddy's lawyer takes a bow out. Let me paint this picture for you real quick. Imagine you're about to go into the biggest fight of your life, and then your main trainer, the one who's been prepping you this whole time, just throws in the towel before you even step in the ring. That's basically what happened when Anthony Rico, one of Diddy's 6 attorneys, said, "Nah, I'm good," and bounced faster than a rubber check. On February 20th, 2025, Rico filed withdrawal paperwork quicker than people unfollow a canceled celebrity, and 4 days later, Judge Aaron Subramanian was like, "Bet, you out." But what's got everybody's jaw on the floor is how Rico phrased it, stating, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs." Y'all hear that? Under no circumstances. That's like your doctor looking at your x-rays and saying, "There's nothing I can do for you." When a professional uses language that strong, that's not just a red flag, that's a whole red parade, with fireworks and everything. And let me tell you something that'll really blow your mind. This Anthony Rico ain't just some ambulance chaser who got his degree from a cereal box. This man is a veteran attorney who previously represented clients as notorious as Osama bin Laden. Let that sink in for a minute. A lawyer who defended literal terrorists looked at Diddy's case and said, "This is too hot for me to handle." That's like Gordon Ramsay walking out of your kitchen saying, "Your cooking situation is beyond saving." So what made Rico hit that eject button like his chair was on fire? While attorney-client privilege keeps him from spilling all the tea, the timing speaks volumes. Louder than your mama when she catches you sneaking in past curfew. Right before, Rico said deuces. Sources close to the case say that Cassie Ventura dropped some private recordings of her conversations with Diddy. We don't know exactly what's on them tapes, but whatever it was hit harder than when Drake dropped that surprise Kendrick diss. These weren't just regular conversations about what to have for dinner. They allegedly contained information so spicy that they flipped the whole case upside down like a pancake. Whatever Cassie leaked must have been nuclear. I'm talking about the kind of information that makes a professional lawyer with decades of experience look at his client and be like, "You know what? I think I left my stove on at home. Forever. Bye." In what looks like a desperate scramble to save face, like putting a Band-Aid on the Titanic, Diddy's remaining legal squad reportedly tried to clap back by releasing what they called shocking text messages from Cassie. This whole back-and-forth leaking created more chaos than a Waffle House at 3 a.m. on a Saturday, with both sides trying to win in the court of public opinion. It's in this whole mess that Rico decided to skirt his way out of there. While he never straight up said his exit was because of these leaks, the timing is more suspicious than your significant other's phone suddenly getting a passcode after 3 years of dating. Was it them recordings that made him say, "I'm out this J"? Did he have beef with the strategy of leaking Cassie's texts as a counter-move? Or did he peep something in this exchange that told him this case was more doomed than a character who says, "I'll be right back," in a horror movie? His spokesperson just cited irreconcilable differences with Diddy as the official explanation. But we all know that's code for there's a whole iceberg under this tip. That's like breaking up with someone and saying, "It's not you, it's me," when we all know it was definitely them. Rico wasn't just some random lawyer Diddy found on a billboard or the back of a bus. He's a well-respected New York attorney with mad experience in high-profile cases. His departure left Diddy with 5 remaining lawyers, including Mark Agnifilo and Tenny Garagos, who are still hanging in there like the last 2 people at a party that should have ended hours ago. But word on the street suggests Diddy's legal team is fractured like a dropped iPhone screen with no case, described by one source as a reel. A and Q show due to infighting and lack of focus. When your legal squad is beefing worse than East Coast versus West Coast in the 90s, that's a bad look before trial. That's like showing up to court with your tie undone and yesterday's coffee stain on your shirt. While his legal team is trying to put together a defense held together with duct tape and prayers, Diddy's been getting acquainted with that jail life. Since they locked him up in September 2024, he's been stuck at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a federal joint notorious for conditions rougher than gas station bathroom toilet paper. How the mighty have fallen. From All About the Benjamins to All About the Commissary. From private jets to prison chow. From champagne baths to, well, let's just say those prison showers ain't exactly equipped with luxury bath products. The physical toll of incarceration is visible on Diddy now. His once jet-black hair and beard have turned gray, as hair dye is prohibited in prison. This transformation was evident during court appearances, where he wore a khaki jail uniform instead of the designer clothes he was known for. Trying to give us poor me vibes when he spent decades living like a king while allegedly causing harm to women. Don't fall for that act. That's like a wolf putting on sheep's clothing after spending years terrorizing the flock. To cope with his new reality, Combs reportedly focuses on his legal preparation, meeting frequently with his attorneys in a conference room off the common area. He has access to a non-Wi-Fi enabled laptop to review evidence for his case, available daily from 8 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. in a visiting room. But that's a far cry from the luxury and freedom he's used to. That's like going from flying first class your whole life to suddenly being crammed in the middle seat in economy with a crying baby on both sides. Now, let's talk about what this means for his case. When a high-profile attorney like Rico walks away from a case this big, it sends shockwaves through the entire legal community. It's like when the smartest kid in class gets up and walks out of the exam, everybody else starts sweating. The other lawyers got to be thinking, what, does he know that we don't? And it ain't just Rico. Word on the street is that Diddy's been having trouble keeping lawyers throughout this whole saga. It's giving, if you can't keep your legal team, how you gonna beat these charges? Energy. Lawyers are supposed to be ride or die for their clients. That's literally their job. So when they start dropping like flies, you know something is seriously wrong. Let's be real for a second. Lawyers don't just walk away from high-profile, high-paying clients unless something is seriously wrong. These folks went to school for years, built their reputations over decades, and understand better than most what's at stake in cases like these. When someone like Rico says, under no circumstances, can he continue representation? That's lawyer speak for this situation is beyond redemption. That's like a mechanic looking at your car and instead of giving you an estimate, they hand you a brochure for a new vehicle, and the timing of this exit, right after Cassie supposedly leaked those recordings. That's no coincidence. That's like your friend suddenly remembering they have plans right after you ask them to help you move. The universe doesn't work in coincidences that big. So, what could possibly be on those recordings that would make a seasoned attorney run for the hills? While we don't know the exact contents, and I'm keeping this family-friendly for all our younger viewers, we can read between the lines. Whatever was said in those conversations was likely enough to make Rico realize this case wasn't just difficult. It might be impossible to win. What makes this situation even more wild is how Diddy's remaining legal team reportedly responded by trying to leak their own shocking text messages from Cassie. That's like bringing a water pistol to a firefight. If your opponent has audio recordings that made your own lawyer quit, text messages aren't going to save you. That's like responding to, I have video evidence with, well, I have a strongly worded letter. It just doesn't compare. This whole situation shows just how desperate Diddy's defense has become. When your strategy shifts from prove my innocence to discredit the accuser, you're already fighting a losing battle. And when that strategy is so questionable that it drives away your own legal counsel, game over. The fact that Rico walked away speaks volumes about not just the legal aspects of this case, but the moral ones too. Lawyers are trained to defend their clients regardless of personal feelings. That's the whole basis of our legal system. But even they have lines they won't cross. And whatever line was crossed here was apparently so severe that Rico couldn't justify staying on, even for what was undoubtedly a massive payday. As this case continues to unfold, keep your eyes on Diddy's legal team. If more lawyers start heading for the exit, that'll tell you everything you need to know about how this trial is likely to end. Because in the court of law, just like in the court of public opinion, actions speak louder than words. and Rico's action of walking away. That's screaming louder than any statement his PR team could ever release. But listen, when Cassie Ventura stepped into that courtroom, it was like dropping a bomb on Diddy's whole existence. For 3 straight days, Shorty showed up 8 months pregnant, with her belly all the way out, and still had the audacity to testify. For 3 whole days. That's some real queen energy right there. Imagine being that pregnant and still having to relive trauma in front of your abuser. That's like running a marathon while carrying twins and being chased by a bear. Cassie spilled all the beans about their decade-long situationship from 2007 to 2018, and y'all, the tea burned my whole mouth off. Let me put you hip to these so-called private parties. And these weren't just normal gatherings. These were inappropriate situations with hired performers. And Diddy, he wasn't just organizing them, he was directing them like he's Martin Scorsese. According to Cassie, he was handing out substances like it was Halloween candy, keeping everybody under his control. That ain't a vibe. That's some supervillain type behavior. So now the mask is off, the empire's crumbling, and the whole world's watching like it's the finale of a scandalous Netflix series. But this ain't fiction. This is real life, and the receipts are printing faster than Diddy can change his name. Cassie didn't just testify. She lit a match and walked away from the gasoline-soaked legacy of a man who thought he was untouchable. And if the rest of this case keeps going the way it's headed, the truth ain't just coming out. It's kicking down the door with steel-toe boots. Now ask yourself, if this is what's coming out in court, imagine what's still hidden behind. Those velvet ropes and locked doors. Don't sleep on this. Stay woke, stay loud, and keep your eyes glued, because this trial ain't just about one man falling. It's about the system that let him rise. Follow for the real updates, not the industry spin. And if you feel this, share it. Let the world know we're done staying quiet.